So when I was a kid, I saw a picture of what Skyline Chili does. And I heard about it as a young kid, and not.
What is it? What do they do?
I'll get to that. So
Okay.
I didn't have the greatest childhood. I did most of my own cooking. And when I could get some noodles, and then I dump a can of chili on the noodles, and then a whole bunch of, I take some cheddar cheese and you take it to a grater and grate it. That was, to me, the ultimate in comfort food. I love it to this day. Probably the number one comfort food I have would be chicken pot pie. I love me a chicken pot pie.
You like the cheap ones too.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's sweetheart, Karen and I, we love chicken pot pie. But then, like if she's out of town, I'm either going to have, if I'm not eating, my best life, I'm either going to have a BLT or I'm going to have chili and spaghetti and cheese. So growing up, I fed that to you. Comfort food. Hey, we're going to watch a game. It's going to be a fun game.
Duke basketball. We watched Duke Butler, Coach K. I remember those days. It was fun.
And so we might have a BLT. We might have some hot dogs, but on a bun with a little bit of, I put pork and beans on it, a little bit of mustard. But more often than not, we'd have spaghetti and chili and cheese. And you made the mistake of telling your friends that you did this.
Yeah, so on the
As a
West
kid.
Coast, in Portland, all my friends are, you're insane. Like your pregame meal is spaghetti, chili, and cheese. Your favorite meal is this, and people here could not understand. They're like, I've been getting crap and shit for this for years, like probably the last 5, 6, 7 years since I've ever started talking about it. They're like, you eat what? On spaghetti? Chili on spaghetti with cheese? That's wrong. Where's the red sauce? Where's this? And for me, it's my favorite meal. Like straight up, it's my favorite. If it's my go-to when if I'm tired after a football game, that's what I would drink growing up. It's my favorite thing, or eat growing up, I guess, is not drink. And we went to Cincinnati, and lo and behold, Skyline Chili does this exact thing.
So it was fun for me. I reached out to Skyline Chili.
Go
and
ahead,
They've got about 100, and the people like, what's Skyline Chili? They have about 135 stores, about 90 stores in the Cincinnati metro, and the rest of their stores are in Indiana and Kentucky and Florida. So they're a big deal in the Midwest, and everybody knows
particularly in Cincinnati.
Particularly in Cincinnati. And I was so excited when they said yes that we could film with them, we could do a podcast with them, and to have you sitting in on the podcast, we did a Culinary Treasure podcast, and have you sitting in there and telling the guy that we're interviewing, about this whole journey. It was so much fun for me because that's their signature thing.
It was another moment, and maybe this is another reason why I want to move to Cincinnati. It was like, I feel a kinship with all these people. If you go, there's 90 roughly in the Cincinnati greater area. So if you aren't, it's like the Starbucks in Seattle. It's everywhere. Every corner, every neighborhood seems to have one. If you want chili, you can always have Skyline Chili. And the fact that that's such a staple there and they accept it and they love it was like first time in my life I'm like, it's okay to like this, and it's phenomenal, and it's cheap, and it's easy. I can go get it. I was like, it blew my mind, and I'd be so happy. I was like, I can have Skyline Chili anytime I want, and it's okay, and it's acceptable.
So we're there at 8:30 on Saturday morning to film before they open, and they've got a cook there. They're very gracious, and we're filming, and we're eating Skyline Chili, and then we're all done, and then we're busy Saturday. We're busy Sunday. After the game, we get back to the hotel. You cross the bridge. I take my circuitous route. I get back to the hotel. We take a little bit of a nap, and you're like, we want dinner. What do you want? I say, man, I just want a steak, steak and mashed potatoes and a glass of wine. And you wake up, I want Skyline Chili. So we walk down, right there in Covington, Kentucky is a Skyline Chili about 4 minutes from our hotel room. And you had Skyline Chili on Sunday night.
It was phenomenal. It always hits the spot. It's perfect. Actually, here's a question. I'm making Skyline Chili. I'm making, it's not Skyline Chili. It's not worthy of them. Yeah. It's got beans in it, which isn't how they make it. I'm making spaghetti, chili, and cheese tonight. Here's the big question. I know how to make spaghetti. Do you put the chili in the spaghetti and put it on? Is it on the burner with the chili also in the spaghetti, and do you just mix it all up, or do you put the spaghetti on the plate and then put the chili on top of it?
What I usually do was mix it up together.
Yeah. In the same pan.
Pot, yeah.
In the pot, yeah. Same way you would with red sauce. You just mix it all up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't
treat it
overmix
like
it
spaghetti
because
sauce.
you don't want to crush the beans.
Yeah, but you just treat it like a spaghetti sauce.
Yep.
Perfect. That's what I'm going to do tonight. Because I'm making it tonight. I'm really excited. I'm going to have it for dinner.
And you scoop it out on your bowl, and then you put a bunch of cheddar cheese on it, and it's so perfect.
And I'm going to have friends over to eat it tonight, and they're going to understand and not give me crap. This is why it's so good. I had it. It's the real thing. In Cincinnati, they eat it. I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. Better enjoy my favorite food. If you don't, you're out. Get out of here. Mostly kidding. Mostly.